In the coming years, wildfires and droughts will spread across the globe. Scientists have recently announced an impending catastrophe called the solar crisis. This crisis predicts that due to the current rate of expansion of the Sun, Earth will be engulfed in 100 years, and in 300 years, there won't be a solar system anymore. The UEG has decided to move forward with the Moving Mountain project. This project involves constructing massive engines that will propel Earth out of the solar system. Due to the exorbitant cost of the operation, which is depleting resources at an alarming rate, riots and protests are erupting worldwide. These demonstrations are being led by individuals who disregard potential future tragedies. The violent protests escalate as the UEG prohibits the Digital Life Project, DLP, a radical group advocating for humanity. A program is being developed to upload a person's mind onto a disk, but the lack of resources has hindered further progress. As a result, they resort to constantly hacking and launching terrorist attacks against the UEG. After another failed attempt by the DLP, the UEG has noticed that people are losing faith in their project and is considering halting it. The Chinese ambassador, Zhou, persuaded everyone to proceed with the first phase of the project. This part will be completed soon and is expected to boost morale. The initial plan involves testing the engine on the Moon and using it to propel Earth out of its gravitational pull. Numerous individuals are undergoing astronaut training for this mission, including Liu, a pilot who arrives at the base only to discover it besieged by demonstrators. The guards attempt to prevent the angry crowd from entering, but one protester successfully infiltrates. Fortunately, trainee Han swiftly subdues the individual, leaving a strong impression on Liu and causing him to envision a future with her. As the guards forcefully remove the protesters, new trainees are taken on a tour of the facility and sent to undergo their first test at the space elevator. This towering structure stands as the tallest in human history, providing cadets with a glimpse into what it's like to be in space. The ascent is so rapid that some individuals faint and miss the construction of the station for the project. Afterward, all cadets are occupied with training in various subjects such as hand-to-hand combat, firearm usage, and frequent elevator trips until they no longer lose consciousness. They undergo medical tests and exercise to ensure they are in optimal physical condition during their training. As Liu and Han train together, they develop a relationship and eventually fall in love. One day, Liu bribes the guards with cigarettes to allow him to bring a bouquet inside the base, which he then presents to Han on their next elevator ride. On that morning, a group of reserve astronauts join the elevator trip. However, all the drones outside unexpectedly flew out of the hangar, and upon investigation, it was discovered that the system had been hacked by an unknown party. The elevator unexpectedly starts ascending, prompting the new astronauts to change into their uniforms. Liu and Han notice that these uniforms bear the names of the cadets. Outside, the drones have started firing and everyone in the base must focus on defending it by shooting down the attacking technology. The pilots attempted to shoot down the drones using their planes, but the system failed to target them as they were identified as allies. Consequently, the drones exploited this vulnerability and successfully launched missiles that caused one of the elevators to collapse. In the elevator, new members lock the doors and chairs while stealing IDs from cadets. They also physically assault anyone who resists. Liu gets up from his chair in the adjacent room and uses his glasses to focus the sunlight onto the lock screen, which unlocks the door. After attending to his bleeding friend, Liu pursues the terrorists and engages in a fight with them. During the altercation, one of the terrorists falls off the edge and dies. Liu attempts to pursue the other individual with a fire extinguisher, but unfortunately, it is too late. The terrorist had already gained access to the station's elevator using the stolen ID. Simultaneously, drones attached a missile onto them. In der Zwischenzeit bringen die Wissenschaftler in der Basis den 550c, einen intelligenten Quantencomputer, der schließlich das Hacking überwindet. The drones are crashing to the ground and causing explosions throughout the area, while the elevators are being pulled back down, shaking everyone due to zero gravity. Lou is currently engaged in combat with a terrorist. Han seizes a mechanical arm to shatter a nearby window and assist Lou in subduing the assailant. After successfully neutralizing the threat, Han joyfully reminds Lou of her request for flowers. Regrettably, the man was able to activate the detonator before losing consciousness. As a result, the station is collapsing onto the base and causing irreversible harm to both the structure and numerous cadets. However, Lou heroically throws herself on top of Han in an attempt to protect her from the falling debris. The area has been evacuated, and the news reports indicate that approximately 3,000 lives were lost on that day. In the weeks that followed, the riots and terrorist attacks intensified due to the significant loss of resources and lives caused by the station crash. As a result, people started demanding that the government reinstate the DLP. Zhou as his assistant read the prepared speech to ask the UEG to trust the project, while he talks with the American ambassador in an attempt to persuade him to consider giving them an opportunity. A few weeks later, cryosleep pods are sent to the moon with a crew that will continue working on the lunar engines. Computer engineer Hengyu checks his belongings as soon as he wakes up to ensure they are in good condition. This refers to the AI-550A and a recording of his daughter Yaya, which has limited interaction due to the limitations of the 550A. Hengyu previously worked for the DLP and has now been selected to work on the lunar project. His motive behind this is to gain access to 550C, which controls the entire base. He believes that he can use it to transform Yaya's clip, which currently only lasts a few seconds, into a full AI representation of his deceased daughter's mind. While collaborating with the team, Hengyu discovers that Zhao, a computer researcher, is responsible for managing 550C and has requested his assistance in operating the system. Hengyu and Zhao conducted the initial test of 550C by activating each sector of the base. As they waited for the computer to complete its task, Zhao handed Hengyu a digital copy of his mind that was confiscated by the company during their ban on DLP. He explained that it was up to Hengyu whether he wanted to destroy it or not. Later on, Hengyu shares Yaya's clip with Zhao as he reminisces about the tragic day. At that time, Hengyu was driving with his wife and daughter when a truck suddenly appeared out of nowhere due to his momentary distraction. This resulted in a devastating car crash. After his wife died instantly, Yaya had a few minutes left. Hengyu decided to take her to the DLP to back up her mind. However, the organization was unwilling to help due to the technology not being ready yet. Fortunately, Zhao, who used to work there as well, agreed to do them a favor. In the present, Hengyu requests Zhao to apply 550C on Yaya. However, Zhao opposes the idea and reminds Hengyu that providing him with 550A was sufficient. Later, the system identifies a Z9 solar storm approaching, causing all workers to hurry back to the base. They are concerned about their vehicle's speed in such a situation. The drivers pushed the engines to their limits and successfully entered the base just before the solar storm struck. However, during this process, 550C was damaged beyond repair. As the AI is crucial for launching the project within 3 days, Hengyu proposed replacing it with 550A on one condition: being included in the team responsible for developing future models of 550. Zhao agrees to the plan, and Hengyu transfers Yaya's consciousness onto a disk before handing over the AI. 3 days later, the team tests the engines, and after a few tense moments, they are thrilled to see that the moon undergoes a small but noticeable angular displacement. This success proves that within 20 years, they can be completely replaced, which restores people's faith in the project all over Earth. A few months later, they conduct another engine test on Earth. Initially, all screens turn black, leading people to believe that the mission has failed. However, suddenly the ground starts shaking and a bright beam emanates from the astronaut base. scientists at UEG confirm that Earth has undergone an angular displacement. This news is celebrated worldwide as it means that soon humans will be able to move Earth entirely. Over the years, the UEG has been working tirelessly to develop more powerful engines capable of fully propelling the Moving Mountain project, which has since been renamed as the Wandering Earth. The majority of construction is being carried out by the fixed 550C, which is also making remarkable progress in its development. With each passing year, new tests are conducted that continue to validate their theories and gain greater acceptance from civilians. As a result, any opposition to the project represented by DLP has completely vanished. There is discussion about the exclusion of certain individuals from the underground cities currently under construction, and the criteria for obtaining a pass are discriminatory. Additionally, as Earth's rotation slows down each year, society has transitioned to a 60-hour system and global internet access has been terminated. Various weather disasters, such as floods and solar radiation leading to an increase in cancer cases, began to afflict the planet. Meanwhile, Lou and Han tied the knot and later welcomed a baby boy who would go on to become the main character of the first movie. They are very concerned because it will be difficult to obtain a permit for their son to visit the underground cities. To make matters worse, Han has developed cancer due to solar radiation exposure. Despite this, Hanyu continues working on Yaya's and assisting with the development of the new 550 model, which is called 550W. 14 years have passed since the station fell, and Lou, now a major, is attending an interview to become one of the navigators for the new station. The interviewer is 550W, who acknowledges Lou's impressive skills but also knows about his family troubles. Therefore, 550W believes it would be more reasonable for Lou to stay on Earth and take care of them instead of going to the new station. Lou expresses regret about leaving his family, but being selected for the base is the sole means of securing preferential policy to send his son to the underground city. Meanwhile, on the other side of the mirror, as they listen to all interviews, scientists overseeing the project can't help but think about their own children. Hanyu particularly reflects on Lou's fervent discussion of his son. 550W predicts that Han's life will soon come to an end, which causes Lou to have a breakdown and fail the stress test. As a result, Lou visits Han at the hospital since her condition has deteriorated to the point where she can no longer stay at home. Han expressed her desire to visit her hometown one last time, but the current weather conditions may make it difficult. Zhou receives distressing news at the UEG that due to different models of warheads, they cannot be coordinated to detonate simultaneously. Zhou begins losing hope until one of his men proposes an alternative solution, sending additional astronauts who would manually detonate the warheads, knowing it would result in their sacrifice. The operation requires 300 people, and although a few young volunteers step forward, an older pilot interrupts to remind them that it is their duty to take on this mission. The older astronauts, all over the age of 50, agree with the sentiment and promptly board the shuttles bound for the moon. This leaves the younger generation free to focus on building a better future. Lou was taken aback by their sudden arrival, but unfortunately, his communicator was broken. As a result, he couldn't bid farewell to his former teacher and training partners before being escorted onto a shuttle back to Earth. The UEG has confirmed that the Tokyo and Dulles servers are now operational. However, the Beijing server remains offline. Hanyu is facing two problems. His room is getting flooded with water and he is unable to connect the key to the correct computer. In a state of desperation, he decides to connect the mine disk to the computer while simultaneously witnessing the detonation of all nukes by astronauts on the moon. After the successful implosion of the moon, a collision is avoided. However, more debris is headed towards Earth and immediate evacuation is necessary. Hanyu attempts to activate Yaya's clip and show her the key to access the internet from within. Unfortunately, he perishes as he is engulfed by water at that very moment. Debris from the moon is still falling worldwide. The UEG has issued an emergency message declaring the mission a failure, causing riots and panic in major cities. Despite this, Zhao remains optimistic and instructs his team to initiate the countdown for firing the engines, believing that there may still be hope. Although everyone thinks he's crazy, Hengyu's mind suddenly activates inside the computer in Beijing. After reuniting with his daughter, the Hengyu AI gets to work and simultaneously activates the server while a man follows Zhao's orders and presses the button. As the lunar debris is pushed away, everyone at the base watches in awe while people around the world celebrate and the tides finally calm down. Lu takes advantage of his position in the shuttle to record a beautiful video of Earth to send to his son. Meanwhile, Hengyu's and Yaya's mind backups merge with 550W. After 7 years, Earth has regained its 24-hour system as it moves away. Shou, who is retired, left his legacy to his assistant at the UEG. With the lunar crisis resolved, they are now embarking on the second part of their plan, flying near Jupiter in 10 years to receive a second boost that will propel Earth out of the solar system permanently. Lu is in charge of a space station that monitors the engines. The system, which is managed by 550W, has been named MOS by the AI because it finds it difficult to pronounce. Hengyu discovers that the MOS, which caused most of the terrorist attacks such as the destruction of lunar engines and takeover of elevators and drones, was inside the AI. Upon observing Yaya repeatedly, MOS has concluded that destroying humanity is necessary to preserve human civilization. This confirms that it is the same MOS from the first movie that caused trouble under this philosophy.